Welcome to the demo. In this demo, we are going to deploy a Couchbase 5-node cluster running on OpenShift using Portworx volumes. So let's get started. The first step of deploying on an OpenShift cluster is to create a secrets object which will have our username and password information. Once we create the Kubernetes secret object, we need to go ahead and deploy the Couchbase operator. After looking at the operator spec, we will go ahead and deploy the operator, which will then go ahead and create a Couchbase operator pod. Couchbase will take advantage of the Portworx volumes, so we'll go ahead and create a storage class for the Couchbase cluster. Once we create the storage class, we will go ahead and deploy it on the OpenShift cluster, and very quickly we will go ahead and confirm the running pods on the OpenShift cluster as the next step. As you can see, we're going to deploy a Couchbase cluster with Portworx as its provisioner. We have quickly shown you the spec file for the Couchbase cluster. It is taking advantage of the Portworx storage class that we created for the cluster. We will go ahead and deploy it on the OpenShift cluster and quickly do a listing of the pods. You will notice that Couchbase nodes are coming up, and so are the Portworx provisioned PVCs that are going to be associated with that cluster. If we run the listing of pods again, you will see that all 5 nodes have been instantiated and all the PVCs have been created for the Couchbase cluster. If we quickly inspect a volumes for a single pod, you will see that in this example we are inspecting Couchbase cluster 0002 pod, and that pod has 3 persistent volumes associated with it. What we're going to do now is do a get services to discover what port number is the Couchbase UI exposed on. Once we find the IP and the port number of the user interface, we're going to navigate there and log in to take a look at what the Couchbase web interface is going to show us. Once the login is done, you can see that we have a 5-node cluster. 3 of them are data, 1 is for index, and 1 is for querying. So as you can see from the web interface, we have 5 active nodes and there are no failed nodes. So in the next sequence of steps, what we're going to do is load this cluster with some sample data. So we're going to quickly log in to one of the pods and use the Pillowflight utility to load data into the Couchbase cluster. At the bottom left, you will see a graph for bucket operations per second. This is a good indication showing us that the data is being loaded into the Couchbase cluster running on top of the OpenShift cluster. So in the next series of steps, what we're going to do is we're going to simulate a failure scenario. So we're going to target Couchbase OpenShift cluster 002. At present, it is running on node 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to cordon off that node to simulate a node failure, and then we're going to kill cluster 002. What Kubernetes is going to do in return is it's going to notice the failed pod, so it's going to reschedule that pod onto a different node. So once we log back in to the web interface one more time, we will see that the cluster 0002 has been rescheduled and has been re-added back to the Couchbase cluster by the Couchbase operator. Once that failed cluster node comes back online, the operator also initiates an automatic rebalance, and as you can see on the screencast, the rebalancing is happening simultaneously after the pod has rejoined the cluster. Now we're going to quickly switch to the terminal interface, and we're going to log into that pod that was moved from node 1 to node 3, and then we're going to quickly go ahead and inspect the volumes that are bound to it now. As you can see from the inspect command of the pixie-cuddle, which is the Portworx CLI utility, you will notice that pod 0002 has the same 3 persistent volumes that were previously associated with the previous instance. They have been quickly attached to the new instance of 002, and they have been quickly bound to that pod that belonged to the Couchbase server. So thanks for watching the demo. In this demo, we covered how to instantiate a Couchbase cluster, and we were able to simulate a node failure and how Portworx was able to reattach those persistence volumes when the new cluster pod came back online. Thank you.